Good afternoon and welcome to Houston Real Estate Today, Houston's most informative hour of great real estate information. I'm your host, Steve Levine, the publisher of Real Estate Executive and Builder Architect magazines. It's a pleasure to be with you each and every Friday as I bring together my own panel of experts to talk about your questions in Houston Real Estate and Houston Real Estate Today, hence the name of the show. Today we're going to be talking about Inner Loop in the Hot Med Center area with a terrific builder and a terrific realtor, and we're going to talk with my friend Renee Esate for Urban Financial, and he's with us today, and back with us today is our sponsor, and we sure appreciate his wealth of great information he shares with our listeners every week. So let's get started with the show. First, I want to welcome Mr. Renee Esate, our sponsor.
Steve, always a pleasure.
You bet. We're going to bring you back for the...
Yeah, I'm taking a little hiatus the last few weeks.
Yeah, where you been? You've been hiding.
I've been getting Tom some exposure. Tom's, the great Tom's on the radio, so he enjoys it.
There you go. Well, you got one of your guys, Corey, with you today, one of your vice presidents, and a good friend of the show. So we'll be back with you later on mortgage. Today, our first guest is a top real estate agent with Houston Land and Home, Jason Easer, and they're primarily a land and acquisition investment development consultation company. But in April, coming right around the corner here, Jason, they're launching a new residential arm headed up by ex-Urban Living VP Mark Hall. And this company will be called Metro Realty Group, and we're going to talk to you a little later about the transition and why the addition, and be focused solely on new construction sales. And
That's
Jason
right.
brought his friend Larry Zomper with us to talk about some of his projects. He's got some exciting things coming up. So Jason began his career in IT and maintained networks all over town. He's worked for Jim McAllister, Bill McDade, etc., and knew there was a better way to handle real estate and focus on the needs of the customer. So we are extremely excited to have you on the show today, Jason. Thanks for joining us.
I'm excited, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, tell me a little about Houston Land and Home.
Well, I think you pretty much hit it on the head already. We've worked with builders in the past, primarily doing land acquisition, development consultation, due diligence management, things of that nature. Many of them thought that there was a void that needed to be filled. They wanted us to sell the homes on the back end, so that's what we're trying to do here with the launch of Metro Realty Group.
And why the need for the new addition?
Well, I think it's more of a consumer-friendly name, I guess, and I would like to keep Houston Land and Home focusing more on the builder services side, and keep Metro Realty Group focus on the home sales themselves.
I see. And tell me about your take. You've been in real estate for a while. Tell me about your take on the Houston real estate market today.
Well, I think it's alive and well. I think it's more a perception of doom and gloom than anything else, especially inside the loop. There's a steady increase in home prices even this past year. We saw probably I believe it's a 10% gain in the home prices of single-family homes and a 5% gain on the townhomes. I really don't see a bust coming anytime soon, let's say.
And we were talking at lunch, there's some differentiate between inner loop and outside the loop.
Well,
There's
sure.
a loop we're talking about is 610, and now we have the Beltway, but it's another loop. And then the Grand Parkway is another loop, but we're talking about basically inside the loop, close to downtown. There's a differentiation on the real estate market itself and the typical consumers and values, and sales are still good inside the loop.
They absolutely are, and I think demand's only rising. Builders started to hesitate these past few months, but really the winter months are statistically a little bit slow, so I expect things to pick up real fast here soon.
So you've seen an increase in sales and
Sure.
and consumer awareness for what's inside the loop. Most people feel that the inner loop is very limited obviously in space and in opportunities, but there's a vast array of product in the single family, multifamily ventures, isn't there?
There really is, and there's still areas that are relatively untouched. Still some good. Well, of course, if you're looking for high-priced homes, Med Center, Museum District, Montrose, anywhere on that north to south plain, all the way to the Heights, there's still some excellent values. However, just outside the Med Center, perhaps even on the east side of 288, I mean, you could still get homes in the 200,000s. And you're right across the freeway from the Med Center, right across the freeway from the Museum District. So those are some of my favorite areas.
outside with buyers and sellers.
We really
say
don't. No, sir.
Memorial or Bel Air or.
Well, we'll go out to Galleria, let's say. Galleria, Memorial, Bel Air, but if we're talking about going west, then perhaps let's stretch all the way to the Beltway.
So primarily we're talking about inside the loop, near
Values.
What are some of the great areas inside the loop? Downtown,
Yes, sir.
Inner Memorial area, the Heights?
Heights, definitely.
Heights, definitely, okay. So mainly, that's what you do where your expertise is.
That's
and,
exactly right. I mean, it's a huge city. It's really much smarter if you want to be an expert to focus on particular areas, and I think that inside the loop's a good area to focus on for us.
We've talked a lot on the show about specialization in the realtor's business and how that helps a consumer, being a buyer or seller, when somebody, as they say in the Music Man, they know the territory.
Well, sure. Right.
And typically, you work with more single-family home or more multi-family home, condos, townhouses?
I would say it's more condos and townhomes, more of the infill product.
And they are a great investment, aren't they, the condos?
Well,
and high rises.
They are. I think the demand will continue to grow here inside Houston. I mean, I don't think we've had quite as much of an overbuilt market as they have on, say, the east and the west coast. I consider demand could keep rising.
I know that we've talked on these shows before about how people were moving out of the city, to the suburbs in the 50s and 60s, and then realized they're going to be spending all their time in their car their whole life, right. And are returning to downtown areas, or downtown areas are starting to pop up in different areas of town with the mixed-use developments. And there's one coming in the Heights very soon. So it's good to know that people are returning. They've rediscovered the lifestyle and the opportunities of retail and restaurants and entertainment of Inner Loop and downtown area. Would you say Inner Loop is more of a buyer's market or a seller's market?
Well, I mean, I think right now, let's say it could be considered a buyer's market. I think more than anything that the gloom and doom of the housing bust could be used as a negotiation tactic, but in actuality, I would say it's not a buyer's market, no.
Well, it may be, we talked about lunch, it may be there's product available, but it may not be as much of it in the Inner Loop. So
that's right. Well, with this perception of the housing bubble as well, a lot of builders have slowed down, so it has helped the absorption as well.
It needs to catch up some.
Well, I think you're right, and I think that's happening right now.
So it's a good time to buy. If you're right in the right area, it's a decent time to sell. That national news isn't necessarily for Houston residents' ears. I tell them when we come back from break, if there's been a gloom and doom news story, that's not about you guys. It's about the rest of the nation. And we know we're blessed to be in this area, to be in Houston and Texas with current real estate market. Not that we haven't taken our bumps, but things are looking pretty good.
I think you're right.
So, do you work with any investors, Jason?
Sure, and I think it's a very good time for investors to be buying because, once again, you can use that housing bubble as a negotiation tactic. And there are still some areas around downtown Houston, whether it be out in North Main or on the east side of 288, 3rd Ward, Gulf Gate areas, where there's some excellent buys.
Would they be in land, or they be in your condos, or single family, or
land valued transactions? If it's a rental house close enough to land value, I think it's still an excellent buy. As long as you're close to land value, I think you could see some, perhaps even 100% appreciation here in the next 5 years, 5, 10 years.
I would think this is a great opportunity for investors who've got the coin and want to invest in Houston. Houston's a great market. It'll always have some peaks and valleys, but we're on the grow. We have a great population shift here and a great relo market, a great international market, so it's a great opportunity for investors. We get calls and emails from listeners wondering, well, I'm going to buy, should I look at something new or should I look at a resale?
I think it's more, comes down to the purpose, your main purpose of the house. If you're going to own or occupy it, I would have to suggest new construction, just mainly for the warranty. Why would you not want your house to have a warranty of it? If you're looking at it for an investment purchase, I would maybe consider resale if there's that big of a discrepancy in the price, or perhaps if it's a foreclosure, you know. I think there's more value there, but if the value is not there, why would you not want to buy new?
A lot depends on your buyer's goals, I would imagine, also, whether how long they're going to be in the home, if they can
Well, that's right.
go through some of the startup in a new home and maturation, if you will. Some want to come in, pool's already there, landscaping's already lush, and where a resale might make sense, particularly on a little shorter term, and work out in the new home maybe a little longer. But I know with home warranty companies out there, they're pretty frequent and pretty competitive. That you can pick up a warranty, all different types of policies for that resale home as well.
Well, you might be right, but there's a lot more new and exciting products out there. Why would you want to buy something that's 5 years old when you can have something similar that's brand new?
Well, Jason, who are some of the great builders you work for? Obviously, you're focused a lot with the new company on new construction, and you work
Yes,
with builders again, both in the single family and multifamily varieties. And you brought a special guest today. Who are some of the builders you work with?
Well, some of my favorites, I guess, right now would be, depends on where you want to buy, let's say, but a company I work with, A&J Development, they are building one of the few smaller, mid-rise type condo developments, you know, 3 stories. They have 2 locations in Montrose right now, one in Midtown, that are pretty exciting. Of course, another favorite builder of mine is Larry Zomper, sitting next to
And
me.
he's sitting right next to you,
That's
too,
right.
so I think he's within earshot. So
Well, I
watch what
believe
you
he
say.
has some great valued products as well out in the Med Center, east side of 288, just a little bit north of the Med Center as well. Great value.
And what about in the custom home division? What kind of prices could somebody see by having something built in Interloop? Of course, a lot depends on price of dirt, but what would you say I should expect to pay if I was going to buy?
I think it really depends upon location, Steve, as well.
Right.
I mean, you're looking anywhere from mid-3s to all the way up to $1 million, of course. It really just depends on the location.
And all that's in prime dirt, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it sure is.
Great
It certainly is.
locations. Your best values now would be, you talked about maybe the Med Center area?
I would say just on the outskirts. Of course, Med Center, you're not going to find much value there, but just on the outskirts of it, yes, sir, you will. Just north, just east, other side of 288. There isn't too much action out North Main, but I like the area. With the rail going in these next few years, I don't see why not.
Well, you do a great job, and a professional and extremely knowledgeable real estate,
Thank
and
you.
specializing in the inner loop. And a lot of consumers think they can buy or sell on their own. Do they? What would you tell them why they need a realtor?
Well, really to make sure you don't get ripped off, I guess, to tell you the truth. Working myself with investors as well, they're always buying stuff that's way undervalued, and I think half the reason that is, of course, if a seller is desperate to sell, that might be one factor, but a lot of times they're just somewhat ignorant to the value of their home. I would always suggest using a realtor just to make sure you're getting a fair deal on your property. Any realtor you call will probably give you a free comparative market analysis showing, you know, sales in your area, and I don't see why you wouldn't ask a realtor for one of those.
Make sure they're a member of HAR, Houston Association of Realtors, and they are a realtor. There's a difference between a realtor and a real estate agent. The realtor has taken the pledge, the realtor pledge, to work
right.
ethically with consumers, and I think that's very important. Obviously, you are a realtor.
Yes,
Who are some of the other great folks in the next minute or so? Who are some of the great folks that you work with at Metro?
Well, I like our team a lot. Stephen Roscoe I've worked with for about 2 years. I met him doing land acquisition at another urban interloop company where we gained a lot of experience on the market. He's a great guy. He's very focused on the development aspect of our job, and we recently hired Mark Hall, as you said, and he is spent 6 years himself at Urban Living, heading up the sales team over there, managing them, and he's a wonderful addition to our company, and I look forward to working with him in the future.
He's very dynamic, and he's got a
Absolutely.
phenomenal background and extremely knowledgeable. sometime we'll have to have him back on the show.
That would be great.
Have you both back on the show. I'm so glad that our friends at Urban Financial, Renee and Corey, invited you to be on the show with us. You've been a great,
It's a great opportunity.
great
Yes.
information, and particularly as a focus on Interloop and Med Center and all that you represent. Real quick in our closing moments here for this particular segment, tell us your contact information. How would somebody get a hold of you?
Sure. Well, you can use easy email address info@houstonland.com if you like, or try the office 713-522-7222.
Perfect. That's exactly what we want to know. We'll be back with more great information on Houston Real Estate today. If you missed any part of this, all of our shows are archived on HoustonRealEstateToday.com. And we'll be right back with more great information, so don't go away.